All right, well, good morning and welcome to the Good Morning Hudson program on this International Women's Day. My name is Mary Claire Olson Potter, President of the Chamber, and it's an honor to welcome all of you here today as we celebrate International Women's Day, which, does anyone know what year that recognition started?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's all right. Started around in the early 1900s.
Wow.
So it's been going on a long time. So before we launch into the program, what I'd like to do is just so the speakers have an understanding of who's joining us today, I'm just going to quickly go around my screen and invite you to introduce your name, your title, and the organization that you represent. So I'm just going to go on my screen here. I'm going to start with Leanne in my upper corner.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leanne Van Alen. I'm the Director of Graduate and Adult Programs for the College of Business and Economics at the University of Wisconsin-River Falls.
All right, welcome. And then Carrie, for the speakers, we will do longer introductions, but Carrie, I invite you to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is,
sorry.
Oh, there's a Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, sorry, Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie Harding, and I am with Eagle Eye Farm, and I'm one of the co-owners of Eagle Eye Farm.
Thank you. Kelly?
Hi, I'm Kelly Cadwell. I'm the owner of Simply Staffing.
Excellent. Wendy?
Good morning. I'm Wendy Helgeson, and I am with Civic Source, and I assist Mary Claire with the Leadership Hudson program.
Excellent. Heath? Not going to point out you are our lone male so far, but we're thrilled.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but
Fabulous.
Heath Ernreiter with Cardinal Health, operations manager.
Excellent. Welcome. Karen?
I'm Karen Evenson, and I'm the owner of Catherine Michael Associates.
Thank you. Katie?
I'm Katie Kranz. I'm a trust officer with First State Bank and Trust.
Excellent. Welcome. Angie?
Good morning, everyone. Angie Pilgrim, the Director of Community Impact with the St. Croix Valley Foundation. It's good to see everybody.
Thank you. April?
Good morning, April Worthington with the Hudson Chamber, and I work with communications, events, and marketing.
All right, welcome. Elizabeth?
I am Elizabeth Vetter, and I am the owner of CBD Hudson.
A new member. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Kara?
Morning, everybody. Kara Cook. I represent part of the city of Hudson on the St. Croix County Board.
And if you were on the tour of homes last year, Kara had her lovely home on the tour with only about 1,200 people wandering through. Have you picked up all the Christmas tree needles yet? Or
I'm still finding random needles around, but it was amazing to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Kathy?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Blattinger. I'm the Director of Operations for Cardinal Health. And Caleb is also on, so we have two males.
Oh, excellent. All right, we'll get to Caleb. Excellent. Thank you, Kathy. Jolene.
Jolene Sullivan with Tammy Bellil's American Family, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Specialist.
Excellent. Welcome. Linda.
Morning, everybody. Linda Lukoski-Eng with Minuteman Press.
Thank you. Tanya, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Tanya Noir, and I'm the owner of 4 North Beauty Collective.
And they are celebrating their 1-year anniversary this month.
Wow.
Yay. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Michelle. Good to see you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Johnson with Edward Jones, and I manage the wealth of an exclusive group here.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you. Amy.
I'm Amy Berg. I'm with Turning Point for Victims of Domestic and Sexual Violence, and I'm the Resource Development Director.
Welcome. Thank you. And welcome to Savannah, a new member.
Oh.
Savannah, are you there? Oops.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. Good morning, everybody.
Okay. Well, we will invite her back when she is able to join us back. Nicola.
Hi there, Nicole Lenz, Cardinal Health Supervisor in Operations.
Wow.
Welcome. Thank you. Savannah, are you back?
Uh,
I apologize. I think our connection is a little weak. Let me let me come back to you in a moment. Barb Hess, are you there?
Yes, I work for Cardinal Health. I'm an inventory analyst.
Welcome. Thank you so much. And Cindy.
Good morning, everyone. Cindy O'Connor. I apologize for my lack of video. I'm having some issues with my system here. But anyway, I'm a recent retiree of Securing Financial. So I'm looking forward to this morning.
Great. Welcome. Thank you, Cindy. Caleb, are you there?
I am. Good morning. My name is Caleb Olson. I'm also with Cardinal Health, operations manager over there. I'll also apologize for the video, but I worked last night and you do not want to see me this morning.
I'm sure it's not as bad as you make it sound, but we respect that. And let's try Savannah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Savannah. Good morning.
Okay. Hi, I'm general manager of the new 24-hour infrared fitness studio in Hudson.
Oh,
welcome. We are so
Oh my
pleased to
God.
have you with us.
I'm
this
sorry, but I see Savannah like every day. Hi. I just put two and two together.
That's funny. The chamber helps create all sorts of connections, right?
Yes, it does.
All right. Well, good morning again and welcome. As we celebrate International Women's Day, this day has been observed since the early 1900s, a time of great expansion and turbulence in the industrial world that saw booming population growth and the rise of radical ideologies. The first International Women's Day was held in 1911. And today, a global web of rich and diverse local activity connects women from all around the world. The theme for 2022 is #Break the Bias. Imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and separated. Celebrated, not separated, celebrated. Everyone remember that, celebrated.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right. And today we are excited to hear from a few of our own local leaders to talk about their path and their journey as we celebrate women all around the world and especially in our local community.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, I would like to just give you a quick update on a couple upcoming announcements before I turn it over to our moderator. On Wednesday, March 9th, tomorrow at 11, we will host our welcome to the Hudson Chamber membership orientation. That's 11 o'clock via Zoom. And then if you haven't signed up already, I encourage you to sign up to participate in the Hudson Community Expo. That's going to be Sunday, May 1st. Up at Hudson High School. It's the second year we've been up at the high school, and we had over 600 attendees last year and a couple testimonials from those that have been there. We had a Weather Safe was there, and he met a gentleman who owns about 18 properties. And on that day, he started a job that was valued at over $13,000. So wow. It's interesting how the relationships can happen. Another business was there, and he got a catering opportunity that turned into 2 catering opportunities for over $7,000. So you never know the opportunities and the connections that you can make at this event. So I encourage you to check that out on our website. And then if you are a golfer, we are already planning our June 27th annual golf outing. So as we think about more snow that's headed our way, I've heard about in the next week, but polish off your golf clubs and get ready to join us for that. So at this time,
Sorry. How do you sign up for the expo? Did you guys release a registration link yet, or?
Yes, that is on the website, right, April?
It's available on the website, and then the next coming weeks, then we'll send out an e-blast to the full membership. But yeah, if you go to our website and go to the calendar, you can navigate to May 1st, and it's there.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry to
interrupt. If you have any trouble, Tanya, just reach out to us. We'll get you set up.
Oh, you know I will. I'll email you a bunch of questions.
That's all good. That's what we're here for. That's perfect. We'd love to have you join us. All right. Any other questions on any of the announcements that I shared already?
No.
Okay. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Leanne Van Alen. She will moderate today's panel. And as she said, she's the Director of Graduate and Adult Programs within the College of Business and Economics at the University of River Falls. Please join me in welcoming Leanne.
Welcome.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here and even more honored to be able to introduce all of our panelists today. So we've heard brief introductions from each of them. I'm going to give you a little bit more of each of their backgrounds, give them each a chance to say a few words before we go into our questions. And certainly we are going to leave time for questions from all of you as well. So I want to start by certainly thanking all of our panelists for being here. I'm going to start with Kelly Cadwell. And as we heard, Kelly is the owner and president of Simply Staffing. In business for 19 years, Simply Staffing has offices in Hudson, Baldwin, New Richmond, and Prescott, Wisconsin. As a business owner and recruitment executive, Kelly brings to the table a broad experience in all aspects of staffing in the manufacturing, medical device, and clerical areas, from entry-level positions across senior and executive level positions. Much of her experience and success has been with the design and implementation of on-site operations for many companies, coupled with direct hire and talent sourcing for companies located in the western Wisconsin and metro areas of Minnesota. She is well known and respected for her desire to always do things for the right reason and always with grace and grit, always. Kelly serves as a board member on the executive board and board of directors for the New Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce, an ambassador for the New Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce, and also served as an ambassador for the Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce. Kelly and her husband, Brian, also own and operate a side hustle, as she likes to call it. They produce an award-winning Bloody Mary mix, which I'm thinking all of us probably are wishing we had some of this right now. But that,
yes,
many of you have heard, it's Pickled Mary. So it's a Bloody Mary with a bit of a kick. And they're 5-generation pickles known as Kickles, a pickle with a kick. So Kelly, if you can bring Florida and, you know, all the Bloody Mary fixins, that'd be great, right?
Absolutely.
I got you covered.
Awesome. The fun and adventure, which is created with this side hustle, are stress relievers for Kelly as she navigates the ever-changing waters of hiring and recruiting. So please join me in welcoming Kelly. And Kelly, if there's a few words that you want to say as we get started, we welcome you to do that.
Good golly. Thank you so much. That was, that's more than plenty, but I'm just happy to be here amongst some pretty amazing warriors, and I love to see the diversity that we have in this group. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we look forward to hearing more from you through our questions this morning. Thank you. Karen Evenson is a coach and consultant, and as she said, owner of Catherine Michael Associates. Her professional background includes work with domestic and international organizations as a consultant specializing in organization and leadership development through training and coaching. Her customized seminar topics include leadership, creativity and business innovation, change management, and customer service. She provides one-on-one coaching to all levels of leadership. Her clients have included Anheuser-Busch, with all its subsidiaries, including the breweries, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and working with the world-famous Clydesdale staff, as well as the Anheuser-Busch's international locations. She has also worked with SC Johnson, training 40 different intact teams assigned to creating and improving their various household products. Her 30-plus years of experience include companies in the following industries: snack food, medical devices, engineering, healthcare, agriculture, finance, and various manufacturers. She has provided consulting services with nonprofit organizations, donating her time to help transitions and growth. She is the author of Redefining Fear, F-E-A-R, Maximizing Limited Resources with Unlimited Ideas, and the co-author of Don't Step on the Ducks, 5 leadership strategies for developing positive relationships and achieving exceptional results. As she continues to rewire her career, she's currently working on a limited basis with one international company serving 14 countries. I'm thinking that's not too limited, Karen. She has been the president of Hudson Women's Club for 3 years and serves on the Hudson Hospital Patient and Family Advisory Council and the Hudson Hospital Foundation Board. So please join me in welcoming Karen. And Karen, if there's some words that you'd like to say as we get started.
I'm just excited to be here. And knowing that this has been going on for so many years even makes me happier. That it isn't just something about recognizing women in the last 10, 20 years, that we've been fighting for and getting that recognition justifiably. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you for those inspirational comments and for being here and being part of our panel. We appreciate it. And then I would like to introduce our final panelist, Carrie Harting. She is the CEO of Eagle Eye Farm. Carrie Harting and Dawn Stewart first started their alpaca farm, Eagle Eye Farm in Duluth, Minnesota in 2018. A desire to do more agritourism led them to their current property at the corner of County Road F and County Road Double F in River Falls. This beautiful property was formerly a hobby horse farm. Through significant modifications, this site has become the picturesque home of Eagle Eye Farm. Besides a very active breeding program of award-winning alpacas, Eagle Eye Farm also has llamas, mini Highland cattle, Valley black-nosed sheep, baby doll sheep, mini Shetland ponies, cooney pigs, English Angora bunnies, and an eclectic mix of chickens. So I'm thinking, what a fun place to be.
Yes, it's extremely fun.
Sounds great.
They offer farm tours, summer camps, alpaca yoga, which I keep telling my daughter we need to do, and other various events throughout the year at the farm. At the farm, Carrie and Dawn run All Things Sheared, a farm store that offers products primarily made or produced at the farm. This includes alpaca socks, hats, scarves, mittens, insoles, sweaters, rugs, blankets, pillows, honey, and eggs. More recently, Carrie became a beekeeper and started Soaring Bee Apiary. Carrie and Dawn maintain a very active social media presence on both Facebook and Instagram, and have recently started trying their hand at TikTok. Besides being active on the farm, Carrie is a physician. As a radiologist with a specialization in breast imaging, she has a sincere and tremendous passion for women and women's rights in healthcare. She believes in treating the whole patient, not just the body part or the disease. Carrie is a mom of 2 great children, Tucker, who's 14, and Berkeley, who's 11. She hopes to instill in them the importance of treating everyone, including themselves, with respect, finding a passion in life, and creating their own definition of success. So please join me in welcoming Carrie.
Yes.
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for including me on this panel.
Well, thank you, Carrie. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of our panelists. So at this time, I have a few questions for our panelists, and then we're going to open it up to questions from all of you. It's great to see the support today, and we certainly want to leave time for questions that all of you as attendees have for our great panelists as well. So what I'll do is I'll rotate through. I'll give everyone the same question and a chance to respond. Kelly, we'll start with you. If you could please describe your current working role.
Chaos. Hence the Kickle Mary mix. Actually, I have to tell you, I don't know what else I would do. I absolutely love, I have a passion for connecting people. So my current role is owner and president of Simply Staffing. And I like to roll up my sleeves and figure out employment solutions for people who might not have an opportunity otherwise, or may have been discounted, or may have made mistakes in their past, like we all have. I also like to look at the solutions for the client companies who are working in the hiring arena right now. My role is different hats, different days. It's like the rest of us, slaying dragons as they come at you. But what I really enjoy is watching someone who hasn't been given an opportunity to succeed And then through the efforts of Simply Staffing and the client companies we get to support, that person gets an opportunity to go into a temporary position, gets hired on permanently, and then circles back with me 2, 3, 5 years later and says, I'm still here and this is what I'm doing now. I have a family, and that has happened in my life more than I can possibly even report, as far as so often talking to people that they appreciate my efforts and appreciate the efforts of Simply Staffing, and that's what keeps me opening the door every day.
Excellent.
That's excellent. And I was in your industry for a number of years myself, about 20 years. So I know that feeling, and it is so rewarding.
It's rewarding. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Karen, same question for you. Please describe your current working role.
Well, I feel also chaotic at times. And about 5 years ago, my husband said to me, I think it's time for you to retire. I had just finished some classes at Harvard. And I said, oh, I don't think so. I said, how about that I start cutting back a little bit and I just rewire my career? And so in rewiring, what it's done is really allowed me to step back and start saying, what are the parts that I want to focus on? And I listened to Kelly and I agree. It's really watching the development, especially of young leaders, because I think if I would have had a mentor, if I would have had someone to talk to me when I was starting my career and giving me some suggestions and helping me look at different paths, probably would have been a whole different way that I would have come to where I am. But I love to see the people who it's an aha, you know, when they try things and when they go, I really get it, especially the young leaders who were usually promoted to leadership or management because they were so good at their job. And then we said, and then I've talked to many people the CEOs and everything, why aren't they performing as a leader? Because we didn't give them the development. We assumed that that was just going to be transferable. So as I work with people in 14 different countries, whether it's South Africa, where it's in Chile, whether it's in Australia, people are people. And when I used to travel to China and work over there, people are people. And so if you just start looking at them as such, and their needs are usually very same. And as I go to different countries, they'd say, I bet you've never heard this before. Maybe in just a different language I heard it, but it was really delving into it. My background in psychology too was just to take an assessment, to listen to what they're saying and what their needs are. And also talking to them about, have you ever listened to your own people? When I'm excited to talk to some of the people from Cardinal Health, because that was one of my specialties, going out into different warehouses, et cetera. And what we always found as we were doing process improvement, everybody hates that term, it was a lot of times decisions were being made by the wrong people. I know that never happened at Cardinal Health in ops. I understand that. But one of the things that I would always say is listen to the folks, the end users, get the engagement at the right level so that everybody can make a smoother transition. And that's what I'm doing with a current client now. They've just been bought by an international company. And so they've asked me to take on the next year, helping the folks go through the transition. So yes, I'm staying a little busy and loving every moment of it.
That is excellent. And so many organizations benefiting from the great success that you have brought to so many over the years. So we appreciate you being here and sharing some of that today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carrie, I'm going to transition to you and same question. Please describe your current working role.
So I have a couple of roles. So during the day, I am a physician. I am predominantly a breast radiologist. So I read mammograms. I detect breast cancers, do biopsies on patients, and that is extremely fulfilling and helping these patients through that journey. But it's also extremely emotionally draining. And so I have the benefit of being able to go home to our farm, and the alpacas and the other animals are just so calming. And so it's so nice to be able to get out and to think about something other than people, because I think that animals unite us all and are just have such a calming effect. And so at the farm, Dawn and I have really focused on bringing in families and the youth. So we do have summer programs, and we enjoy those so much because it really is encouraging people to think about other other things other than just themselves, especially young children. And I think that's really important. And so it's so nice to see families get together. During COVID, we were one of the places that people could meet with their families. Whenever they couldn't go inside, they could go outside. And so we find that very fulfilling. And so doing something that we can do together as a couple is also very nice.
That's wonderful. And we are so fortunate to have you here in the St. Croix Valley. I love
Thank
it.
Yes.
And I fed the alpacas and the llamas.
Now I'm jealous.
I am. Oh.
Agreed. Let me know if you want to see any of my photos.
What we do.
Or April's photos. Her family went there too.
One of our favorites.
Oh, it's amazing. And just the videos, I will say the videos that you have posted on social media, I just absolutely love them. So it's just so fun.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go back to Kelly. Kelly, what are the one or two events that shaped your life?
Oh, good golly. I can't limit it to one or two.
Well, you can expand. More is good.
I think the first thing that I would say was growing up with parents who started their family really young. My mom was 15 when I was born. And that by the time she was 21, she had 4 kids. We all have the same mom and dad. We all sat around the table for dinner, which was sometimes popcorn, because that's all that could be afforded. Lots of Carnation instant milk growing up until the point where we were young, junior high area, and things started to get better with my parents financially and economically. And what I can say for a fact is that they absolutely raised a family of 4 kids that walked the line. We've never been in any trouble with the law, drugs, anything like that, because we were parented with a firm hand. And I think that is the one thing for sure that shaped me. I remember my first job was 10 years old because I was a dishwasher where my mom was a waitress at the supper club. And as I got older, I worked at the A&W in Baldwin, and many times I was like, I don't feel like going in, I'm just going to call in. And that was absolutely unacceptable. You get your butt out of bed and you get your butt to work. So I think that is the one for sure thing that has shaped me. The other thing I think is because I've been blessed with a lot of good people, that walk beside you and behind you and they catch you when you fall. Friends, family, coworkers, still super good friends with a lot of people who I've worked with over the years. I started with pro staff, Dobbs at the time, in the staffing industry, which is now 35 years ago, I think, for me. So I think it was the Jeff Dobbs and the Barb Ashkars of this world that showed me the right way to do staffing. I also worked for another company that wasn't very good at it. They showed me the wrong way to do staffing. So I was able to blend those two, and here I am 19 years later. It's not easy, but it absolutely is. I just so much love what I get to do. So I think those things shaped me, and I'm still shaping. I'm not, I'm 57 years old and I'm still shaping, and I'm great with that. So
absolutely,
yeah,
that's great. Well, and I think you've certainly drawn from your experience, and you have those expectations within your business, and that is what has driven your success, but it's driven the success of so many.
Well, and I don't believe in I'm not a pretentious person. I'm not, I don't believe that I'm entitled to anything. I believe that, we all earn it when we get up every day and we participate with being a citizen. So I think that it's just a matter of, how do you digest that for yourself, and then how does that come back through your spirit? And that's, I'm a firm believer in that.
That's excellent. Thank you. Okay, Karen, I'm going to transition to you. Okay. What are the one or two events that shaped your life?
I really gave this some thought. You sent these out, and I'm like Kelly. I don't think there were just one or two. I know my mother died when I was 3 years old. And so my father, who had been a World War II veteran, had 4 very small children that he was trying to raise. So I spent so much time with grandparents, and especially with my grandfather. He was an entrepreneur, and he would take me along when I was a very young child. And I would start seeing how he interacted with people. And at the time, I probably didn't even realize that that was something that was going to impact me. But I know that he always built trust with people. I know that he had a feeling of compassion, fairness, but also holding people accountable. And that included me as a child, and included his own children. And so as I started growing up and seeing that, I realized that those are really a lot of the same characteristics that I wanted to embody. When I was ready to go to college, my father said that his daughters as well as sons all needed a college education, because he said every one of my daughters may eventually want to support themselves, have the need to. And so there was all that type of support. And so it was such a combination along the way. I'm going to echo something that Kelly said too. I have worked with leaders, under leaders that were very poor examples of leadership. And I learned a lot from them. I really did, because I learned how not to do this, how not to treat people. And so if anything, sometimes I would think, have I ever crossed over to that path? And if I have, I want someone to tell me, because it was so wrong, the way these people would treat you. And I've worked for exceptional leaders. And that's what I love right now. Even though I do mentoring, even though I do coaching, the people that I continually learn from are the ones whose life experience is shaping them. And as we talk about it, I understand that I can even be a better consultant because of what I learned from them. And it doesn't matter what age, what level of leadership. I enjoy everyone. I'll give you a quick example. I was working with an ops company with Anheuser-Busch, one of their distribution companies. And the leader there really taught me something that really stayed with me. He said, when I came on board, nobody trusted me because I was an outsider. And he said, I sat down one day and I said to the gentleman, and they had different cold storage and everything, what is the most important thing for you? And he said, I thought they were going to say more money, pie in the sky. And they said, we need better gloves. Our hands get so cold every day. And he looked at them and he said, well, what kind of gloves would you like? And somebody held it up and he said, well, I bought these on my own. And because I didn't think the company would buy them. They started talking about that. He said within 3 days, they all had pairs of those, not just one, but several. And he said, I started realizing that when I started listening to the needs and responding to those needs, and that really said a lot to me, the part about listening. You know, I worked with a gentleman. I've worked with several companies that have been bought out. I worked with a gentleman too. And I knew that he was fantastic. He'd moved his entire family from the East Coast to California. His boys were in high school football. And within 6 months, he found out their plant was going to be shut down. So I was out working with him. And I would watch him walk among all of his staff and talk to them. And finally, one day, because they had a cafeteria, he put this great big flip chart. And he said, what questions do you have? Because what he found out was it was rampant among gossip, you know, because somebody would hear, oh my gosh, I think this is going to happen and that. And he said, I had to stop it. And so what he said is, I put, what questions do you have? And people then felt safe. They started writing, and he would have another flip chart, what answers. And what that said to me is the importance of communication at all levels. And so as I go out and as I'm going to be working with this company now, that's what we talked about last week. How do we slide down this communication? At what level and what needs to be told, etc. So I guess it's just, I'm a constant learner. I never stop. I take classes all the time. I felt like even when I'm 73, and when I was out in Harvard, you know, that was about 6 years ago, I thought, oh my God, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to say, why is this old woman here? And instead I was embraced, and I thought I had a lot to add, but I had so much to learn too. It was about immunity to change and helping people as I would go through and they would go through change management initiatives. So I guess there wasn't one thing that I've learned. I continue to learn. And one of the biggest things that I feel about leadership is humility. And the day that I feel like I know it all and that I am going to be a know-it-all with people, I need to step down. Because if I can't be humble and continue to learn and really embrace, when I was in China working, and I'm sorry, this is a long answer, but I was, of course, dressed very professionally. and we had about 20 people, and we had interpreters. And this young woman was sitting there, and you could tell she was just listening. And of course, we would have to translate all of the things that were being said. And the next day, she walked in this beautiful white suit. And I commented on it, how beautiful she looked. And the woman that was with me constantly interpreting, she said, she did it to honor you. This is the only suit that she has. And she wore it every day of the class. I felt honored just to have her there and her presence. And so when I say that with humility, I really mean that. And I think that that's a key thing that leaders do. And that's the way I've tried to lead my business. Catherine Michael Associates, named for my 2 children. And it was incorporated when I was going through a horrible divorce. Only I also said, I know where I need to lead. And so I also believe that when I have my personal mission statement, if it doesn't align with a mission statement of a company, I'm going to say to all of you, you better take a check and look at yourself. Why is it you may be unhappy there? But it also should be your purpose and what you're trying to go through. So long way to say, a lot of people have influenced me. Many, many people, and I'm continuing to be influenced.
I love that. And I love that you embrace that learning and the humility. You know, the world is ever changing. And, you know, as the world changes, we need to change, and we need to embrace it and learn from things and, you know, let that steer us forward. So thank you.
Yes, I will add one. I was sent over to Germany by a German company that is actually here in America. I was sent by the CEO, and he said, go teach them, go beat it into them. I went, oh God, no, I don't do that. He knew me. So these were the 3 strikes that I had against me when I went there. First of all, I was an American. And what did I think that I could teach? And we had people from Denmark. We had all over the European nations. Second, and this was a big one, I was a female in a male-dominated organization and the way that they were doing this engineering. And third, I actually had come from a company in America who they did not respect, this German company that was based there. And so I thought, okay, I get that. And thank goodness I realized that. And I thought it's not going to impede me. And I had one gentleman from Denmark said, what do you think you could possibly teach me? And I said, wow, I don't know, because I don't know you. So let's talk about it and let's find out, because I want to learn from you, but I'm hopeful that I have a gift that I can give to you too. You know, and it worked out. But I thought, boy, breaking down barriers before you even start internationally is important. People are people. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Very much so. Well, and that approach, I mean, that really disarmed him, I'm sure, and opened up conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was not a female in the entire class of 25 people. They were all males. It was fun. It was fun. It was exciting.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, I'm going to transition to you and ask the same question. What are the 1 or 2 events that have shaped your life?
So I agree with Kelly. I think that my parents instilled in me very hard work, and that was extremely important. My father started with the company as the janitor and worked his way up to the CEO. And so I was very accustomed to working hard. Started working with him whenever I was just 10, 12 years old. And so that was really, hard work was instilled in me from a very young age. The other 2 areas that most influenced me were whenever I met Dawn, my wife. It was, I had never been around animals. My parents never even owned a cat or a dog. And now we own a farm with 100 animals. So that obviously was pretty life-changing. But Dawn is a pretty amazing woman herself. She is very independent, very confident, and a very hard worker. And she has really encouraged me to become more confident myself. She believes that anybody can do anything. So on our farm, everybody does everything. So the men on the farm sweep and the women run the bobcats. And so that is instilled in everybody that comes to the farm, that we all do exactly the same thing. It doesn't make a difference what gender you are, that there are things that have to be done on the farm. And it's really important to me for my kids to make sure that they understand that there aren't boy jobs and there aren't girl jobs. There's just jobs that have to be done. And so she has been a very big influence that way. And then for us, when we decided that we were going to leave St. Louis, I was a physician, and she actually had been a medical director for an imaging company. And we decided that we wanted a different lifestyle. And so we moved to Duluth, and that was a big leap of faith for us, and that we didn't know what Dawn was going to do. And so it took us a bit of time, but she had always had a love of alpacas. And so starting that alpaca journey together has brought us together as a couple and made us more solidified in our union together, but also it's given us a common mission and has just been absolutely life-changing in the most positive way possible.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
And that support and being able to take on those new adventures. As you're describing, there aren't jobs for men or women. I hearken back to a time in junior high school, and when my mother said to me, "You're not taking shop class. What are you going to do? Go build the house while your husband's cooking?" I can't tell you how many times I'm out doing the stuff and my husband's inside doing, which she would consider more of a female task. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I absolutely embrace that. And believe me, he's out there doing the other stuff with me too. But, it doesn't matter. And the fact that everybody can jump in and, do their part and share those responsibilities and support each other. I think that's just, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Kelly, we're going to transition back to you.
Okay.
How did you reach your level of success?
Not alone. Absolutely not alone. Support, falling down again. Lots of mentors, lots of raising my hand for help, lots of saying, "I'm sorry, let's try again." So I honestly, there's no way that I would ever be a selfish thinker and say, "Rah, rah, Kelly, you did this all on your own," because that's not the case. And I think the sense of appreciation that I feel comes through genuinely as gratitude, because there's just no way that I could have survived this industry this long, this role this long. My husband, my family, my friends, my customers, being able to have a relationship with my client companies, have a relationship with my client candidates, all of that just kind of mixed into one. That's where it came from. And I hope to God that it continues that way.
Well, and you set the tone. When you look at it, you're the one building those relationships internally, externally, working in a teamwork environment, and it leads to that success.
And it's not always been easy. There's been a lot of changes within people, a lot of changes within internal staff. I don't wordsmith very well. So I'm an Effenheimer user, and so I want to have fun. I want to make people laugh, but I want to make people stick to task too. And if I won't do it, then I'm really not going to expect anybody else to do it. But I'm kind of a no bullshit kind of girl. So tell me straight up what you need and how you need it, and then I will tell you straight up if I can do it or deliver it. And then we just kind of whittle away from there, but it has to be a two-way communication. It has to be transparent, it has to be filled with trust, and then it has to work out for everybody in the end. And it takes time to develop that.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does. Mm-hmm. Very much so. Karen, I think I heard you say yes. I'm going to transition over to you and ask you, how did you reach your level of success?
Well, I'm a lot like Carrie and Kelly probably too. Through a lot of mistakes, but I learned through those mistakes, through I guess my whole life, I never took no as a permanent thing. So when somebody said no, I would try and figure out how we could turn it to yes. And I was going through a very bad divorce many, many years ago. And I had decided then that I was going to go out on my own. I was working at a university and not happy there at all. And I approached my parents and I asked them for a limited amount of funds that I could get started. And I'll never forget, my stepmother at the time looked at me and she said, well, we could give you that. But she said, why don't you just get your kitchen fixed instead? And I said, wow, because I would like to fix my life so that my children have a better life. And she kind of looked at me and I thought, that's what it's really about. It like dawned on me because I thought I could fix my kitchen, but it wasn't going to be improving the very things in my life that I needed to. And so I went forward with that. When I was trying to get my first book published, I got a lot of no's, a lot of rejections. And with every rejection, my second husband, who was wonderful and supportive, said to me, wow, doesn't that bother you? And I said, it only takes one yes. And that's all it took was one yes. And so I just moved forward with that. And I think that that's the thinking that, and when I hear hard work, oh my God, yes, I would be the first. If I came out to that farm, I would say to you, oh my God, could I do that? Would you allow me to do that? And I was so lucky when I was working with the Clydesdales, for instance, and I wasn't working with the horses. Oh, you didn't call them horses. These were magnificent animals, but I would work with these guys and we would be talking about everything. And they said, you can actually walk in the parade and you get to wipe the slobber off of their mouths because of course it has to look perfect. So I was so excited. And I told my husband, he goes, you're going to do what? And I said, I'm walking by these and I wiped the slobber off of their mouth. And he said, I think they made that up to make a fool of you. And I said, I don't care. I have great pride in just being part of this hitch. And it was fun. And so I feel the same way. There is no job that I wouldn't take on. And I would never tell you I was too good for it, because how could I be too good for it if I am asking anybody else to do it? And I think that's something else that I try to work with as my clients, to really instill in them everyone has value. I brought a long rope to this one manufacturing company, about a 50-foot rope. And I had one person stand on one end and I said, this is now your customer, your end user. And on the other end, I had them begin with, who's the first point of contact? We went all the way down, and we kept on adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. I said, I want you to turn to your right now. You're now downstream. I said, what do you do that helps them? And what have they done that has been a problem for you? Because you are their internal customer. They looked at me, and actually the president of that company, I had him on the rope too. And he said, man, you put us on the rope. I went, that's where you all belong. And then I asked this question, who has the most important job? Of course, who do you think they all pointed to? Oh, it's Andy, it's Andy, it's Andy. And I said, oh, you're so wrong. Every one of you has the most important job, because if you're not doing your job, that end user is not going to get what it is that they're asking from you for that service. And that's the approach that I've taken too. There is no job that I would ever feel like is beneath me. Because you know what I also say, that first book, it was when I wrote that, and the subtitle is Maximizing Results with Unlimited Ideas, because you may have limited resources. That's what I said, tap into people. They have the ideas, you've just never asked for. So that's kind of my philosophy. And that may be where I say that it's helped me reach where I am too. And when I say reach that, it sounds like I'm at some pinnacle. I'm just a working woman, and my husband died over a year ago, and somebody said, now that you're a widow. And I said, please don't use that term. I'm a single working woman and I'm having the time of my life. I'm not going to allow some title to put, around me what it is. And I thought, because that immediately puts in other people's minds. So I guess that's why I am who I am. And I've annoyed a lot of people, especially some of my bosses. I can tell you that. I've really annoyed them because I've always asked questions. So that's me. And that's kind of how I have reached where I am. And it's constantly networking. I'm excited. I can't wait to talk to some of you ladies one-on-one. The constant networking. And that's what it is. That's my answer.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Karen. Carrie. next on the docket, right?
Yes.
How did you reach your level of success?
So, like the other two ladies have said, it's just hard work. I wasn't given anything in life. I was the first person in my family to graduate from medical school. Nobody suspected that that's what I wanted to do. And I was in college and made my decision that that's what I wanted to do. And I went for it. I then, whenever Dawn and I decided we were going to move to Duluth, when we eventually started a farm, nobody could believe that that's what we wanted to do, but it has just simply been hard work and determination. It is learning from our failures, which we've had plenty of, but you just have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and continue on with life, and learn from it and be stronger from it. But I do think that it's so important to be surrounded by supportive people. Yes. So I've had mentors, both as a physician, we have mentors in the farming world. And it is so important to have people that you can just be completely and totally honest with, and that are honest with you. And so we hope that we can be mentors to others. I know that I've been mentors as a physician to others, and that truly is one of the biggest gifts that I can give to people is to have them come to me, and I can give them just my personal opinion and my advice. And so I'm so appreciative for all those that have been there for us.
Well, and I think all three of you are mentors to all of us here and others in the community. And certainly we appreciate that very much. And all the advice and knowledge that you're bringing to this today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Kelly, what advice would you give to other women?
Raise your hand for help.
Yes.
Raise your hand for help, and don't doubt yourself that that there's people out there that do want to help. So don't hide behind that. Don't be fearful of it. Sometimes that help leads the person that you've asked as well to help. And it's okay to say no. It's okay. It's okay to say no. It's okay to not be okay. But raise your hand for help.
Very good. Thank you. Karen, same question. What advice would you give to other women?
Love what you're doing. I don't feel like I have a job. For the last 30 years, I never felt like I had a job. I love what I'm doing, and I think that that's important. I think it connects back to having your own personal mission statement. And when I hear Kelly talk about, or I hear Carrie, I can hear that in themselves, that they have connected with a purpose, higher purpose up for themselves. And I would say that that's really important. And also ask hard questions, be a voice, and rattle the tree. And sometimes people are not going to like it when you rattle the tree, but you don't realize that if you don't ask the questions, other people have those questions and they're afraid to. So don't be afraid to ask for help, but also ask hard questions and keep on asking. So I guess that would be the biggest thing. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Carrie, same question to you. What advice would you give to other women?
For me, I think that the biggest thing is to believe in yourself. So nobody believes in me more than I believe in myself. I know that I can do anything that I put my mind to. And so I try my hardest to not undervalue myself. I think that as women, sometimes we are humble or don't feel comfortable displaying or asking for as much as other people get, or don't feel comfortable necessarily putting ourselves out there and talking about our accomplishments because we feel like we're being humble. But we deserve just as much as anybody else, right? As women, we have done a lot, just being women and all that we have accomplished. We just need to believe in ourselves and to really put yourself out there.
Yeah, I agree. Amen to everything. Yes, absolutely.
I love that. Thank you. Okay, our final prepared question for the panelists, and then we're going to open it up for questions from everybody else. Kelly, I'll go back to you. Describe your biggest challenge and how it contributed to your overall success.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Probably me being my biggest challenge, having to adjust my attitude at times. The biggest adjustment or the biggest was probably being this close to failure. There was a time with Simply Staffing that I did have a business partner that we started out together, and she decided that she didn't want to do the operations side of things. I was in charge of the sales and the marketing and the account management, and she was in charge of the operations of the company. And I discovered throughout the process that she wasn't taking care of her side of the business as much as she should have been. So it came really close to failing. And then at that point, she decided that she didn't want to be part of the company anymore. So, and we were 50-50 owners. And I don't know, it's like, how does a 50% owner just decide to quit on the other 50% owner? Well, that's not going to sit well with me. So I was able to, again, I raised my hand for help. I was able to take her to court, and she didn't get what she wanted, not even close, but I got everything I wanted, and that was Simply Staffing. And I had my internal staff, one gal said to me, she goes, "I'm so glad you got me in the divorce." So that was awesome. That was awesome to hear. So I think that's probably that's got to be the one pivotal moment for me in my life of owning Simply Staffing, was that have your ducks in a row. Make sure that if you are in business with someone, that you have all the right documents in place, all the right exit strategies in place, and cover your ass before you think you have to.
Well, and I think, you and Carrie and Karen have all said it. You learn from everything that you do. And sometimes you learn more from those leaders when they're not doing the right things.
And I think you learn through, like it's baptism by fire in many ways. But it's so many times you and we all know this as not just women, but as men and women as humans. We have to react to someone else's action, and it depends on what action are they putting us, which means what position are they putting us in. And sometimes our emotions get in the way, and we react poorly, and then we have to take a step back and then just reevaluate and say, "I'm sorry," and start over. But I just think that we have to. It's part of life, and hiding behind failure or hiding behind the possibility of it wasn't healthy either. So admitting it, fixing it, moving on, and then using it for years to come. That's where I have to be for myself.
Yeah, and great success from it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, I'm going to transition to you with the same question. Describe your biggest challenge and how it contributed to your overall success.
I think, what I spoke to before, that being seen as a valid person who could give some help to a company, and I mean, really, and like I said, I never walked in saying I know everything, because I was going to always listen. But another thing too, another challenge was, and I will say this happens when I am hired as a consultant and I work with people and we make recommendations and they say to me, "That sounds good, but I don't think we're going to do that." And then I ask hard questions, what are we going to do, etc. And it's very, I did an employee survey because they wanted me to do that. And I kept on talking about, why are we doing this, etc., etc. And they did not get the results that they wanted. And so what they wanted to do was put it in a drawer because it was easier. And I said, you cannot do that. These people answered honestly. We're hoping they answered honestly. I think they did. And if you don't show what the results are, then all trust, everything has been gone. And so there was a particular person who had the CEO's ear, and she said, "Yeah, but maybe we shouldn't have done this to begin with." So challenges continue on for me. And I will say too, at one point I walked away from a client because I thought, I'm sorry, you know, I'm trying to hear you, but you're certainly not listening to me. And so it doesn't say that I was right. I've made a lot of mistakes, but it's also, that's always the challenge because I go in there with the right intent, you know, and at times I just kind of walk away and honestly put my hands up and say, all right, you know, I'll send the final invoice, you know, thank you. But I learned a whole lot now about your company. So yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And it was overcoming, going through a divorce, taking care of 2 kids, trying to make sure that everything was going. I mean, so those have all been life challenges, you know, that somehow as women, we do all of that. You know, I used to say, I'm juggling 50 balls. And if one drops, don't focus just on the one that dropped. Why can't you say, thank goodness you've got the other 49 up in the air?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, same question. Describe your biggest challenge and how it contributed to your overall success.
So I think for us in terms of Eagle Eye Farm and our farm was that we came in with 0 farming experience. Dawn and I both come from St. Louis. We were city girls, and we knew nothing about what we were getting ourselves into. And it is simply through education, through seminars and through attending conferences and finding mentors and reading books and searching the internet that we have made it to what it is today. And that's how we're continuing to grow our business and grow as people, is just through continual education and learning and mentors. And so that's how we overcome our challenges, is just taking our education from our failures and turning them into successes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was great. Well, and a common theme. I mean, all of you have talked about the hard work, the continuous learning, the ability to ask questions, reach out, you know, get those mentors and be mentors. And we certainly appreciate all of the insight that you're providing today. So thank you all. I want to open up the floor for questions. So if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand, or you can certainly pop a question into the chat. We'll be monitoring that. But this is the time for, you know, really dialogue and interaction with our great panelists and learning more.
I have a question. This is Angie from St. Croix Valley Foundation. Karen just touched on this a little bit, but if you could all speak to balance and how you find balance juggling 49 or 50 balls, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I will speak, and you know, but I'm going to turn it over to everybody else too. That it's not easy. And there were times, especially when I was a divorced woman with 2 children, I had them totally full-time and everything. And I was also working on my master's. I mean, it was on and on and on, that I felt like sometimes my family got slighted. I'll be honest with you, really. And that was never my intent. And so then I would have to go back and I would have to say, okay, what needs to adjust so that they get more of that attention? You know, because to say to a 7-year-old, because my daughter was 7 when we got divorced, my son was 10, you know, well, mommy has to work. That was true. I did. Only, you know, but I wasn't giving them enough time. So I say that with a red face, but it wasn't always easy to find that balance. And so it was a matter of me working harder at doing that balance in my life a lot of times. And, you know, and also saying, you know, one of the things for years, I actually taught the 7 habits of highly effective people. One thing that really made me think about it is, if you had 1 year to live, how would you want to live that year? And what would be the most important things? And when I started looking at it like that, that also helped me start putting more balance and saying, you know, you may have to restructure things. You may have to be working a lot later hours when the children are already in bed, but you've given them the best of you, because I found a lot of times I was giving the worst of me. And I made up my mind that the best of me should go to the people I love the most. So I don't know if that helps, but it's not easy to put the balance in.
Honestly, I'm going to sound, my intention is not to sound negative at all, but During the years of raising our daughter, there was no balance. It was all, and I'm just going to be, raw and honest. It was all survival. It was all a matter of, how do you beat the clock? And you get up every day and you do the same routine Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays and Sundays you let your hair down and you become, the mom and the wife that you really want to be. It's, it's waking up the kids, getting them off to school, giving them a smooch, make sure that they know they're loved and cleaned and fed, and just repeat, and rinse and repeat. And then as the kids get older and they become more self-sufficient, that's when you can start kind of carving out time for yourself to be that balance, or to get that balance. That's how it worked for me. My daughter is now all grown up and she'll be having her first baby in May. And because of that, I've been able to put Kelly at the top of the priority list. So it doesn't happen fast and furious. It happens over time. And I think the biggest key for that is just to not be so damn hard on yourself. Because no one else has to get in our kitchen about us. We do it just fine by ourselves. And I think it's okay to say, you know what, I need to take this hour to go sit and have a cup of coffee with peace and quiet. That doesn't necessarily mean that's balance. That just means you're taking a little bit of time for yourself so that you can get back to the balance. But again, like what Karen just said too, it's not easy. And it depends on what you want to make the priority be. And if you can, have your spouse or your significant other support you and help you with that, your friends and family support you. It goes back to asking for help.
Yeah.
But I think you have to just be, totally honest with yourself and say, you know what, for these first, 10, 11 years, I'm not going to have balance, and I'm okay with that because my commitment is to my family and making my job part of that commitment to my family.
And I like what you said too, because I think you redefine the word balance a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was going through this divorce, I was having a final exam, a really important class in my master's, and I had to take my kids with me. And so they sat out in the evening. I brought coloring books, everything. They were sitting out in the hall while I was taking the exam. But then as a reward, oh God, yes, going to McDonald's, but that was okay. I mean, it really was. It was. And so I agree with you. I don't know how you define balance. To everybody, it may be something different, but it doesn't come easy. That's for sure.
No,
and I like what you said about carving time for yourself, because I think after a while I thought, you know what, those dishes can sit in the sink. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Big picture. Yeah.
Sometimes your tagline has to be "screw it." It's
absolutely. I agree.
I'll get to it when I get to it.
Times. Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Carrie, any thoughts from you?
I find it a challenge to balance. And so I just find it's a constant recalibration. So it's so at certain times, certain things are more important than other things. And so every day, every week, every month, there's a recalibration of what's the most important thing. And so I think I'm a big list person. And so I have list after list going. And so for me, it just is, I can't say that, today it's, my priority is this, because it will be this today, but it won't necessarily be that tomorrow. And so you just do what you have to do. And you'll get through it. It's just a lot of hard work and having grace for yourself to realize that you're doing the absolute best that you can do. And there's times whenever I've thought, I'm not the best at being a mom, or I'm not the best at this, but I'm doing the best that I can do.
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Very, very true. Thank you. What other questions do we have for the panelists?
Have you seen the landscape change over the past? I mean, I've been in the workforce 30 years, but have you seen the landscape change, the opportunities change, or I guess what I'm even more curious about, have the challenges morphed, and are they different than what they were? And how can I help to overcome that for some folks that, we have a lot of very, like the people we've had in the panelists, very strong have managed to get through some really tough stuff in their life, but maybe there's someone that's just not as vocal or just needs that little kind of nudge in the right direction. I'm just curious, like, what should I be watching for? And how can I be more involved, I guess, overall?
Caleb, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you talking about in the team that you lead, the people that you're working with? Is that what you're talking about?
I am, yeah. Mainly, I think my wife and I have a pretty good partnership, but I'm, there's always room for improvement. So I'm not going to say that I can't use the help there too.
Yeah. When I talk to someone like you who is being so honest and putting it out there, what I say is surround yourself with the best people, but don't overlook the best people. I would love to sit down with you and go through some little exercises, because I think that it helps you understand more what's going on. But sometimes when I work with these different organizations, they'll say that we are having a mass exodus of our best players. And see, I tell you, I ask questions, I go, why? Why would they be leaving? And the exit interview, what are they saying? Oh, we got this. And I said, so how many times do you do a stay interview? Well, what do you mean we give them performance reviews? No. How many times do you do a stay interview? Talk to each person, find out what's working for them and not. And I could go through a whole series of questions. I won't. But it is amazing how we just sometimes take for granted some of our best employees too. And what I say is, golly, why do we think they don't need any coaching or any time spent with them? Because that may be the very thing that they do, and listen to them. So I'm not going to say any more, but I just say it's not easy being a leader. When everything's going great, I think about what you were saying, Kelly, all the up and down, what you're saying, Carrie, too, because you're really balancing two real, careers. And I think it's not easy. And so because it's not easy, we need to take that in mind and know that when things are going well, we should celebrate. And when things aren't, we should celebrate too, but celebrate how we get out of that, what we use to turn that around. So I would love to talk one-on-one with you, Kayla. I really would.
And for me, I would say, for you, Caleb, you are in a really great picking kind of position. You have your leader, Kathy, and you have your leader, Heath. Those two people have, and I can speak to the experience of this. Many, many years ago, I toured Cardinal with Heath, and I believe it was Shannon. Am I saying maybe correct? Watching how they all interacted with people, walking through that warehouse with Heath, and he knew every name of every person he was talking to. So you are at a really awesome juncture where you can tap into those resources that you have right next to you. And I can also say, listen to the whispers. Go sit into the break room and listen to the whispers. And when we listen, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We better be better listeners, right? But we also better use our mouth to make the change that you're hearing the whispers about. So I think a lot of times people are like, you're not going to do anything about it anyhow. We need to change that narrative and say, oh, yes, we are. And then prove it, and back it up with, actions. And I think that we all just need to be better listeners, better actioners, better transformers, and then keep revisiting it over and over and over. And I've lost a lot of internal staff, let me tell you, because I let 1 or 2 bad apples ruin the bunch. And for me, that bad apple or those bad apples were inconvenient for me to do anything about, which was like, holy crap, Kelly, do you realize what you just did? So those are the failures I talk about, and those are the whispers that I didn't pay attention to. So that's why I would, highly recommend you pay attention to the whispers and you lean into, Kathy and the Heaths of this world.
And I'll just add one thing too. I love what you just said, Kelly, but ask the people what their challenges are. Don't assume you know. That's the whole thing. We assume so much. So ask them and find out what their challenges are. Because there are challenges out there. Find out and see what you can do about them.
The trap I fall into a lot. Not getting into the specifics. So Karen, I appreciate, and Kelly, appreciate your comments as well. But Karen, I don't know if you know what you asked for, so I'll be emailing you.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to work with you. That would be great. Because you know what? When I work with Australia, it's such a different time zone. I am sometimes at 2 or 3 in the morning talking to people. So I have to slap myself a couple times, drink. I'm not a coffee drinker, drink a lot of hot tea, and then smile. And they go, "What time is it where you are, Karen?" "Oh, it's 3 a.m. It's okay." My cat and I are up.
That's not a really good example of balance.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. But my kitty cat is very happy when I'm up at 3 in the morning. She thinks
Perfect.
It's playtime. Yeah.
I have a great question from the audience. And this is to any of our panelists. Do you have any life hacks that have helped you with raising, or the survival, I should say, of raising children as a professional? And, I think any creative ideas that that can help through the survival of that would be appreciated.
Oh, boy. Well, you guys are going to think I'm probably a bigger whack job than I am. If they want to have ice cream for breakfast, let them have ice cream for breakfast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's frozen milk. And it's not worth the headache in the morning to, try to get them to eat what you want them to eat, and laugh with them. If they want to eat, supper in the bathtub, let them. That way you can just, you'll live out those memories later on in life and you can laugh about it. But it's still part of the fun shaping of the individual.
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Pick your battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pick your battles. That's good. Yeah. Pick your battles and, And I used to ask my kids, what makes you happy? What makes you sad? So that I could deal with things better too, because I wasn't always sure. And my daughter said, "I'm sad because you have to work so hard." Oh, so that was a hard thing to answer, but I didn't understand, but it was the first time she said that to me.
And Karen, to that point too, I can remember picking my daughter up from school. And I would say to her, "How was your day, honey? On a scale of 1 to 10, how was your day?" And I'd ask for that number. And if it was a 7 or 8, then my question would be, what would have made it a 10? And doing that consistently every day, to the point where her girlfriends would get in the car with me and they're like, "Mrs. Cadwell, I had an 8 today." Well, okay, what would have made it a 10? So, they're 22 years old now and they still ask me that question when they come to the house. So it's like, the discipline and the consistency of it was the key.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Yeah,
that's my daughter.
It's not easy. I wish there was a formula that the 3 of us could give you, and that we could say, "Okay, take notes. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and it will be perfect." It's never going to be perfect. And I think that was the other thing too. I said to both my kids as they've aged too, "I am imperfect." And they both went, "God, you didn't have to tell us that." And I went, and in my imperfection is meaning I'm a human. And I
tell them you're sorry. When you've made a mistake.
I messed up. Sure, absolutely. I messed up. Yeah,
exactly
I do.
right.
I tell them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I also think it's really important to just, in this day and age, whenever everybody's on the computer or on their phone, to just be present. And so it's really like we have game nights and nobody's allowed to use their phone. And so the phones, the devices all get put away, and we have to be together and be there. And I think that's really important, really challenging, but really important.
That's super cool, Carrie. That's really cool.
That is.
Yeah, my family rolls their eyes when I say no devices at dinner. And then our 2 girls will say, "But Dad's the one that's breaking the rules here, right? I have to get on Dad."
So true. So true. It is.
Oh, well, thank you all very, very much. We certainly appreciate all of your wisdom and sharing of your experiences with us. Collectively being able to hear this from all of you is so valuable, and certainly a great testament to all the successes that you each have had individually, and we appreciate it. So thank you. Mary Claire, I'm going to turn it back to you for any final wrap up and words that you want to share.
Well, thank you so much, Leanne, and please join me in thanking Leanne and our phenomenal panelists today.
Leanne did great.
You were all wonderful. Thank you so much. And so honest and authentic. And it just was such a great way to start the day. And I'm excited that this is our 3rd annual International Women's Day. And so the first time we were in person, the last 2 obviously virtual. And, you know, maybe next year, if everything kind of continues in the way that we are, we will be able to gather in person again, which would be
In
fabulous.
Florida with me.
Yes.
Great. Kelly's buying us all a ticket.
That's what I heard. That's what
I heard the ticket and the location are covered.
Read between the lines. Yep.
Yep, that's what I heard. And I'll buy the beverages for the whole time we're all there. So
This is fun.
So
Yes, it
one
was
of the
fun.
last point I want to make today before we close is that we are donating a portion of the proceeds that when you registered to attend this event, which we greatly appreciate, we're donating a portion of those to Turning Point and the important work that they do in this community. So I'd like to invite Amy Berg just to say a few words about Turning Point. Amy?
Thank you so much. This was so inspiring. Thank you, everyone. For those of you who are not familiar with Turning Point, we are the domestic and sexual violence crisis organization for Pierce and St. Croix counties. We are based in River Falls. We also have a satellite office in New Richmond. We serve between about 600 and 900 individuals every year. And our crisis shelter is currently full with a wait list. It's been that way since the Safer at Home order lifted in May of 2020. So we're very grateful for the support and for the opportunity today. So thank you.
Thank you for all you do. My goodness, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Amy, so much. And like I said, we will be donating a portion of your attendees' registration today, though. We love to help give back to the community and support all the great work that all of these organizations do in our community. So again, thank you so much to Leanne, to Kelly, to Karen, and to Carrie for your time and your thoughtfulness in your responses today, and for everyone who joined. Are there any last questions before we close today? We are going to give you 6 extra minutes in your day. Consider this part of your balance.
Thank you.
If it's an opportunity to go get a cup of coffee or just take a walk or do whatever, but thank you for your continued involvement in the Hudson Chamber. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Thank you so much and have a great day.